So, I don't know if you know this, but the whistle in Pikmin is pretty important. It can help your Pikmin dodge enemy fire, save them from hazards like fire or water, and call them to attention while they're sitting idle. Aside from the A button, it's probably the button you'll be pressing the most during a regular playthrough of the game. So, what would it look like if we took that ability away? What if you were unable to press the B button and use the whistle?
No! Oh my god, fuck! I can't get them off! I can't get them off!
What would a playthrough like that even look like?
Wait, where are they? Oh my god, no!
And would it even be possible to finish the game?
Dude, I'm done. This is impossible.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've come to the right place, because today, we're gonna find out if it's possible to beat Pikmin without the use of the whistle. So, there's gonna be a couple rules for this run. First and foremost, I can't use the whistle under any circumstance. If I was to use the whistle at any point, I would have to reset that day. And the second, which is more of a self-imposed rule, is that I have to beat the challenge in 15 days, just to keep things spicy. So let's hop right into it, starting off with day 1. So day 1 goes really well. I use some Pikmin to push a bots, gather up some pellets, and bring back the ship's main engine. Honestly, it was all really easy. Even gathering up Pikmin wasn't that hard, I just kind of bumped into them and they started to follow me. I think this challenge is gonna be easy, right? Right? Okay, so this is where the challenge really begins. Day 1 is more of a tutorial day. There's no time limit, no enemies, no challenge. Day 2, that's all gonna change, starting first with the time limit. A normal day in Pikmin lasts 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Once that time is up, you have to return to your ship and leave the planet. Any Pikmin that are not under your control or near the base will perish. But yeah, we basically have a time limit of 13 minutes and 30 seconds per day, and we have 14 days to collect 29 ship parts, which averages out to 2 ship parts per day, with one day having 3. Seems doable, right? Especially since we're not playing the game with a huge disadvantage or anything. So let's hop right into day 2 and see how things go. So we land, and I quickly break down this wall, and one thing becomes very apparent. It's really annoying not having the whistle. Look at how long it takes to get their attention just by bumping into them. And this is just 25 Pikmin, imagine when it's 100. It's gonna be so much worse. Well, that's a problem for future me. For now, let's pillage the local flora and fauna of this beautiful area and build up our army. I then find the external fuel dynamo and come across a bulb orb, which is a moment I've been dreading, because I don't know how combat's gonna go. When I throw a Pikmin into battle, I can't call them back. There's no retreating. We either kill the enemy or they all die. Once they leave my arms, they are in God's hands. But it actually goes off without a hitch, with only a couple casualties. I then destroy another bulb orb and come across the yellow Pikmin, and then bring back the external fuel dynamo to the ship. I break down a stone wall with the yellow Pikmin and head back to base. And this is when I realize how fucked this challenge is gonna be. Playing without the whistle is fine in small numbers, but when you start having this many Pikmin, it becomes a real issue. Rounding them up is so slow. Just look at how long this takes. I don't even get them all because I just don't have time. The day is almost over and we've only collected 1 ship part on basically the easiest day of the run. We're in trouble. So, I break down another stone wall, and since you can't swap between Pikmin like in later games, I have to dismiss the entire group to grab the bomb Pikmin, which wastes even more time. I then realize how late it is and rush to retrieve the whimsical radar. And as the Pikmin are carrying our spoils back to base, something dawns on me. I can't call them back. If a Pikmin is doing a task like breaking a wall or carrying something back to base, the only way of calling them back is using the whistle. You can't nudge them to get their attention. So basically, when I send a Pikmin to do a task, it's just like combat. It's either they finish it or they die. And I didn't realize this until I tried nudging them off when the countdown for the end of the day started. They had to make it home or they would be food for the nocturnal creatures of the night. And I think like half made it because we ended up with 24 Pikmin being left behind. So overall, a pretty rough day. We learned some pretty big limitations of the run, and we only collected one ship part. And if you remember from the beginning, we need 2 ship parts per day to complete this challenge. But either way, moving on to day 3. We start off the day by collecting the whimsical radar that 24 Pikmin so bravely died for. I once again slowly gather everyone up and leave the base with our eyes on 2 ship parts, the Extraordinary Bolt and the Nova Blaster. I gather up some bombs and break the wall guarding the Extraordinary Bolt and the wall leading back to the base, and then bring the Extraordinary Bolt back. Then I break down this wall, kill all the enemies, and grab the Nova Blaster. Honestly, a pretty uneventful day. But we got 2 ship parts, and that's all that matters. Moving on to day 4. So, without blue Pikmin, we have nothing left to do in the Forest of Hope or the impact site. So, we move on to level 3, the Forest Navel. Fuck. I have been dreading this place. Remember how I said the whistle is used to save Pikmin from environmental hazards? Well, the Forest Navel is filled with environmental hazards. There's a ton of water and fire. And since we can't use the whistle if they get caught in any of these hazards, it's an instant death sentence. There's no way I can save them, so I'm gonna have to be extra careful. So my goal today is to get at least 2 ship parts and unlock the blue Pikmin, because we'll need them for the remaining parts in the Forest of Hope and impact site. So I start off by building these bridges that lead down to the beach. As I'm building the second one, a blowhog starts trying to murder my Pikmin. And since I can't call them back off the bridge, they are in the direct line of fire. And the yellows I have will instantly die if they get hit. So I make an executive decision and jump down and quickly take care of him. I then think it's a smart idea to rush one of them with all my Pikmin, and some yellows pay the price. In this one, I attack with only reds, and they get flung into the water, which I'm completely unaware of. Oh well, not like I could have saved them anyways. I then find the blue Pikmin and use them to take back some of the blowhogs to boost their numbers. And some yellows decide to help out by committing mass suicide. Honestly, even if I could help them, I don't know if I would. I then find the number 1 Ionium Jet and the automatic gear and bring them back to base. I then spend what's left of the day hunting down stray Pikmin, because usually when I round them up, some stragglers get left behind because it just takes too much time getting every single one of them, which leads to stray Pikmin getting left all over the map. Anyways, on to day 5. On day 5, I set my sights on 3 parts I need blue Pikmin for: the Sagittarius, Geiger Counter, and the Shock Absorber. There are actually 4 parts, but considering what I'm working with, I thought it was generous to even go for 3. So I head over to fight the Snagrets. And fighting the Snagrets is kind of a shit show because if the Pikmin miss its head, they'll just continually attack the body and I can't stop them. Usually when you fight these guys, you would throw Pikmin on its head, and the ones that miss, you would call back with the whistle. But without the whistle, it just kind of becomes lunchtime for the Snagrets. Thankfully, when they burrow back underground, I can gather Pikmin back up. And good thing too, because I was starting to get worried I would have to sit here and just watch them all die. I'm sure that won't happen at any point in this run, right? Either way, I kill the Snagrets and get the Geiger Counter. Oh yeah, and there is a way I can save drowning Pikmin. Blue Pikmin lifeguards, baby. That's right, get back to work, you little bitch. I then quickly grab the Sagittarius without much trouble and head over towards the Shock Absorber. Oh yeah, and did I mention how annoying these fucking sap rots are? Pikmin will just start attacking them for no reason, and usually you can call them back with the whistle, but I can't do that. So if some Pikmin started it, I gotta finish it or leave them to die, which again, wastes a bunch of time. I then say fuck it and just brute force my way past the Bulborb with the Shock Absorber. I then finish off the day by grabbing some pellets left by the Snagrets. Oh my god, they are so fucking dumb. And just as everything seems fine, all hell breaks loose. These guys get caught up in the grass, this fucking asshole comes out of nowhere and just starts abducting my Pikmin, and I have a bunch of Pikmin just carrying shit back to the base. And all this is happening as the day is about to end. But thankfully, I'm able to gather up most of them and escape the day without too many casualties. On to day 6. So, we only have one part left in the Forest of Hope, and that's the Radiation Canopy. And it's guarded by this asshole. So, that's where we're headed today. So I get some blue Pikmin started on this wall, and then decide I should get some yellows so I could bomb this tougher wall and break it down faster. And that seemed like a great idea until this yellow Pikmin just decided to commit domestic terrorism. At the time, I didn't know what the fuck happened. But looking back at the replay, it looks like he throws the bomb at this pellet stem for some reason. Pikmin 1 AI, ladies and gentlemen. So either way, I get the wall down and learn that bombs have no effect on the armored cannon beetle. I then run back to base and exchange blues for reds for their higher attack power. I then perfectly time a red Pikmin toss and totally don't get half my squad wiped. And then easily dispatch of the cannon beetle.
No. Oh my god. Fuck. I can't get them off. I can't get them off!
So, remember how I was saying I couldn't call the Pikmin back from attacking the Snagrets? And how it really didn't matter because they would burrow back underground? Well, the cannon beetle doesn't burrow back underground. And it's impervious to all damage that's not done on this red portion of its back. Which results in the Pikmin just continuously attacking him, doing no damage, while I have no way of getting them back. I was worried I would soft lock the day by having all my Pikmin trapped in this cycle, and then lose them all when the day was over. Which, at this point, 100 Pikmin is half of my total army. It would be devastating. And did I mention that he regenerates health? So I quickly had to run back to base and hope by the time I got back, I could land enough Pikmin to kill him and avoid this horrible scenario. And thankfully, I was able to take him down and recover the Radiation Canopy, the last part of the Forest of Hope. I spent the rest of the day spurning as many blue Pikmin as possible, as I'm gonna need a lot for the final level of the game. On to day 7. Now, I'm gonna be honest, day 7 goes off the fucking rails. And it's because I start getting a little desperate. It's already day 7, which means I only have 9 days left if I want to beat the game in 15 days. And I still have 19 parts to collect. Until you realize I need to spend a whole day collecting one part at the impact site and one at the final trial. So I really only have 7 days to collect 17 parts. So I need to start making some big plays. So I set my eyes on the anti-dioxin filter, space float, gravity jumper, and omega stabilizer. 4 parts in 1 day. I can do this. So I head down to the beach to grab the anti-dioxin filter. And I realize almost immediately that the Wallywads are gonna fuck my shit up. Normally, you would fight these guys by throwing a couple Pikmin on their back before they jump in the air and calling them back with the whistle. But since I can't do that, they just ride the Wallywog up, get knocked off, and charge straight back to their death. After a bunch of casualties, I quickly grab the anti-dioxin filter and bring it back to base, where the bread bug also happens to be, so I dispose of him and grab the space float. 2 parts already, and it's not even halfway through the day. It looks like my goal of getting 4 parts in 1 day might actually be possible. I head back down to the beach and leave my blue Pikmin to bring the gravity jumper back to base. And this is where it all goes to shit. I make this silly mistake thinking there's just enough time to go and kill the Puffstool. Oh, how wrong I was. The Puffstool was a major pain in the ass. Again, he's an enemy where you want to throw your Pikmin on him, and just before he attacks, you want to call them back. If you don't, they will turn into Puffmin, Pikmin under his control, who will actively seek you out and attack you. And this is exactly what happens. He gets a bunch of Puffmin and just starts kicking my ass. At this point, I was just saying my prayers because the idle Pikmin around me didn't seem to give a shit that I was being assaulted. Luckily, I had thrown enough reds in the Puffstool to kill it before they killed me. And I had just enough to bring back the Omega Stabilizer. And these ones who decided to grab onto the Puffstool would be left for dead. Now the problem was the way back to base was filled with fire. And I had a lot of blue Pikmin on this thing. And they got fucked up. I came out with only 33 Pikmin holding on to this thing. And the day was almost over. If 4 more Pikmin went down, I would not be able to get this part back to the ship, and these Pikmin would die. And then, out of nowhere, we got ambushed. And I had no Pikmin to help, so I just started spamming the A button, which is why this text box keeps popping up so often. But it didn't matter because we made it out, and with only a short walk back to the base, we were gonna make it. We had grabbed the anti-dioxin filter, the space float, gravity jumper, and killed the puff stool to get the Omega stabilizer, all in one day. I went through so much bullshit to get here, but we did it.
Wait, where are they? Oh my god, no!
For some reason, the Pikmin carrying the gravity jumper just decided they wanted to die. And instead of taking the easy route around the base, they just sat here at the wall like idiots. Oh yeah, and it turns out the Pikmin carrying the Omega Stabilizer weren't gonna make it back in time anyways. So, we end up losing 84 Pikmin to the night. Most of them blues, which is absolutely devastating because we're gonna need them for the distant spring. On to day 8. So I start day 8 off by collecting the 2 parts that didn't make it back to base on day 7. And I figure it's finally time to take down BD Longlegs. And let me tell you, this did not go well. Just like with the Cannon Beetle, he's impervious to all attacks except for one spot on his body, which happens to be this middle section. And when you throw Pikmin at this middle section, he will shake them off, which causes them to charge at his feet, a place where he takes no damage. And again, since I can't use the whistle, I can't stop them from doing this. So I have to quickly run back to base and grab more Pikmin and pray that when I get back, my Pikmin are still alive. Spoiler, they were not. But with my reinforcements, I was able to take down BD. And I spend the rest of the day bolstering my numbers because the last 2 parts of the day will take far too long. On to day 9. Now, if day 7 was the cursed day from hell, day 9 was Miracle Day. I had to grab the Libra and the analog computer. Probably the 2 hardest parts logistics-wise, with the Libra requiring all 3 Pikmin types and the analog computer requiring 2. Now, I grabbed the Libra with no trouble, but getting it wasn't the issue. Getting it back was. Since you need yellows to grab it off this high ledge, they would have to be the ones carrying it through the gauntlet of fire. Since, you know, I can't use the whistle. And it went about as well as you think it would. But somehow they made it through. Even still, there was an army of fiery blowhods that they still had to go through, so I just assumed they were all gonna die, and I would have to grab the part on the way back to base. So I grabbed the remaining Pikmin and went to get the analog computer. And again, since it was in water, I had to grab the part with a type that wasn't red. And again, could not call them off. So I had to watch as they all burned. Now, at this point, I assumed they were all gonna die, so I went back to base to grab some reinforcements. And as I got back to the beach, I fully expected to find the Libra just sitting there alone, surrounded by dead Pikmin. But it wasn't. They had made it out somehow by some random grace of God. I was shocked. And it wouldn't be the last time. As I gathered my reinforcements and came over the ridge, I saw something. And couldn't believe my eyes. Just like the Libra before them, the Pikmin carrying the analog computer had somehow made it through the fiery gauntlet. But there was still an army of fiery blowhods in front of them. So I did my best to lay down some covering fire and get those boys home. So after the day of miracles, I was ready for a low-key day. So I went back to the impact site to pick up the remaining part, the positron generator. So I got there, dealt with this troll, killed the Mamuta, good night, sweet prince, and got the positron generator. Which was easier said than done, because these pearly clamps are real assholes. When you throw your Pikmin on them, they will open their mouth and clamp down, killing all Pikmin inside. You're supposed to whistle them back so this doesn't happen, but as you know, I can't do that. So a lot of Pikmin died. Each pearl you get sprouts about 50 Pikmin, but I'm pretty sure I lost more than 50 just trying to get them out of there. I was actually able to use some bombs to get this one out, saving many blue Pikmin from the meat grinder. Other than that though, a pretty low-key day. On to day 11. So day 11 started with me getting the repair type bolt. Now, usually to get this part, you're supposed to throw blue Pikmin on this ledge, whistle them back, and use the C-stick to direct them towards the part. Now, since I can't whistle, I can't use this method. So I tried grabbing some yellow Pikmin and seeing if I could throw them straight up there. Since yellow Pikmin are able to be thrown the highest, I figured it'd give me my best chance. The first spot I tried didn't work because I was too close to the ledge. So I got as close to the edge as possible and turned around, hoping that the Pikmin wouldn't be stupid enough to fall in. And once again, they disappointed me. So I did that a couple times, each time losing more Pikmin, until I had enough to carry the part. Then, this happened. So, I just grabbed some blues and brought it back to base. I then grabbed the interstellar radio from this asshole, which was complete hell because he blows Pikmin everywhere, and I have no method of gathering them up quickly. I then killed this ball bear without much issue and grabbed the massage machine, bringing it home just before the end of the day. And oh yeah, here's some more Pikmin being stupid. Day 12. So let's take stock at where I was at this point. I had 4 more days to go and needed 8 ship parts. But again, I needed to spend an entire day on the final trial to get just 1 part. So I essentially had 3 days to get the remaining 7 ship parts. Definitely possible, but I needed a big day 12 for this to happen. And honestly, everything started off well. I spent the first part of the day getting some bombs to destroy these 2 walls, giving me access to the inner part of the level. Then, I started building this double bridge, giving me access to the gluon drive, the heaviest part in the game, needing 50 Pikmin to carry it. And it was all good, until it went to shit in the weirdest way possible. Once the bridge was finished, I grabbed the red Pikmin and just started walking across the bridge. And shockingly, they somehow managed to fall in the water. Now, this caused the blue Pikmin to jump in the water and try and save them. Normally, when a blue Pikmin does this, they will throw the drowning Pikmin back onto land. But I think the edge of the bridge was blocking them from doing this. So they just got trapped in this cycle of trying to throw the red Pikmin back on the bridge, but being unable to. And normally you could just whistle them and they would stop doing this, but I couldn't do that. So I just had to hope the red Pikmin would die and the blue Pikmin would eventually go idle. But this never happened. They just didn't die and were trapped in this never-ending cycle, leaving me with about 40 Pikmin that I just couldn't use for the rest of the day, which completely fucked everything. I was able to just barely get the gluon drive back, but that's it. I got 1 part in a day I was supposed to get 3 or 4. Not good. The 15-day dream is looking pretty slim. Day 13. So now I had to get 6 ship parts in 2 days, which would be 3 parts a day. And I think at this point in the run, I had only managed to do that once or twice. So things were looking pretty grim. If I was playing normally, it would definitely be possible, but I cannot stress enough how much not having the whistle slows you down. Gathering up Pikmin normally only takes a second or 2, but for me it was taking 30 or 40 seconds. And over the course of the day, it really adds up. But thankfully, there was 2 easy parts for me to get, the zirconium rotor and the pilot's seat, which I actually grabbed both before the halfway point of the day. So grabbing 3 parts was definitely looking possible, with maybe even a 4th. So I set my eyes on the bowsprit, which required me to beat yet another armored cannon beetle. And you think I would have learned my lesson after the first one, but I didn't. I came within 1 hit of killing it, but had no more Pikmin to throw. So I had to run all the way back to base to get reinforcements, which wasted a ton of time. So much time, in fact, that I barely killed him before the end of the day countdown started. And since getting the Pikmin to carry the part back to base would have been a death sentence, I just left the part there for the next day. 4 parts in 1 day. I needed 4 parts in 1 day. Now, I had tried doing this before, getting 4 parts in 1 day, but we all know how that turned out. I needed the bowsprit, the UV lamp, the Chronos reactor, and the number 2 Ionium jet. It was a big task, but I figured I could do it. So, just like with day 13, I was able to grab 2 parts before the halfway point of the day, the UV lamp and the bowsprit. But I knew the next part, the Chronos reactor, was gonna be a bitch. Getting this part is very slow. You have to first throw blue Pikmin up on this ledge, turn them to yellow Pikmin, then throw them on this beach and get them on the part. You are then supposed to call them back and convert them to blue Pikmin. I could do most of this part normally, except for the part of calling them back, which resulted in a lot of dead yellow Pikmin. Fortunately, I was able to grab the part with the remaining blues I had. But with it being so late in the day, I didn't think I had enough time to do the scale puzzle to get the number 2 Ionium Jet. And if you're thinking, wait, I don't remember a scale puzzle being in the Distant Spring, you're 100% correct. There isn't a scale puzzle in the Distant Spring. For some reason, I thought this scale puzzle from Perplexing Pool in Pikmin 2 was in Pikmin 1. I was so confident in fact that I didn't even go and check. And this completely fucked me, because I totally could have got this part. All you have to do is throw blue Pikmin up on this ledge, use the water spout to get up, and then throw them on the part. It's easy. But for some reason, I didn't do that, and it cost me an entire day, which means I'll be unable to beat the game in 15 days, which really sucks. So even though I won't be able to beat the game within 15 days, I should still be able to beat it without using the whistle, which was the whole point of the video in the first place, so it's not a total loss. I basically spent day 15 getting the number 2 Ionium Jet and sprouting some more Pikmin, because we're gonna need all the Pikmin we can get to beat the final trial. Speaking of which, let's head there now. Day 16, hopefully the final day of this run. So the final trial starts off good. I get blue Pikmin to build the bridges, use yellows to bomb the wall, and get everything set up for the reds to move the bots. Oh, fuck. So normally, to move this bot, you need to throw reds on this ledge, whistle them, and then use the C-stick to move them along this ledge until they come in contact with the bots. They will then push it out of the way, clearing a path for the rest of the Pikmin. But I can't whistle, so I can't get their attention and direct them with the C-stick. And without doing that, I don't know if there's a way I can move this bot. I tried everything. I tried throwing blues from the water closest to the bots, I tried throwing yellows over the right side of the wall, I tried throwing them over the left side of the wall, but the wall was way too high and I couldn't get them close enough to the bots. I was looking up speedruns on YouTube, and all of them used the whistle for this part. So, I don't know if this is possible without the whistle. But here's the thing, we've technically already beat Pikmin. You only need 25 mandatory parts to beat the game. There are 5 other optional parts that you don't need. And we already have the 25 mandatory parts. The last part we need, the secret safe, is an optional part. So you can beat Pikmin without using the whistle. You just can't 100% it. But god damn it, I want 100%. So I'm gonna use the whistle just this once to move this fucking boss, clearing the way to the final boss. And let me tell you, beating the final boss without the whistle is fucked. The way you're supposed to fight him is by using bombs and then throwing Pikmin on his face when he's stunned. As soon as he wakes up, you call them back, or else this happens. And if they survive the tongue attack, they will charge at his feet and get crushed soon after. And this caused a huge problem because I would lose so many Pikmin so quickly. And I had to keep running back to base to get more. And this wasted so much time. So much time in fact that no matter how many times I tried, I couldn't beat him before the end of the day. The puzzle portion of the final trial usually took me about a quarter of the day, which would leave me about 3/4 of the day to beat Emperor Bulblats, which just wasn't enough time. So I had to end the day and come back tomorrow, hoping that a full day would be enough to beat him. So even with a full day, it was not looking good. I tried over and over and over again. His health bar was just so massive. And I would spend half the day running back to base to get more Pikmin. I was getting really frustrated, and then this happened. At this point, I was ready to give up. It seemed like it was just impossible doing this without the whistle. I needed some way to call them back so they didn't just die as soon as they were shaken off. So after playing for a bit, I started looking back at some of my footage of the fights to see if I missed anything. Anything that could help me beat him. And I saw something strange that I didn't notice while I was playing. If I threw a bomb as soon as they were shaken off, the Pikmin would run back to me instead of running straight at his feet. I don't know if they're programmed to do this so they don't get killed by the bomb, but it gave me exactly what I needed. A way to call them back without the whistle. It gave me hope. It gave me hope that this was possible. So I spent 2 days gathering as many Pikmin as possible, and armed with my new knowledge, I went back to face Emperor Bulblats one last time. I gathered my Pikmin and got as many bombs as possible, and then started the fight. I stunned him with a bomb, threw some red Pikmin on his face, and tested out my new strategy. As soon as he went to shake them off, I threw a bomb, and my Pikmin came running back to me. It fucking worked. This is actually possible now. And not only was it possible, it was actually kind of easy. I just repeated the same thing over and over again, and he went down. But without this bomb exploit, I don't know if this would have been possible, so thank God for that. So yeah, there it is. You can beat Pikmin without using the whistle, and you can 100% the game only using it one time.